Singapore's largest retailer, NTUC FairPrice Group, which runs hundreds of supermarkets across the country, turns 50 this month. The cooperative has come up with a book, The Price of Being Fair, that tells the story of the brand that was set up by the labour movement and its role to moderate the cost of living. We'll flip through those pages with Vipul Chawla, CEO of FairPrice Group, and Suan Chia. She's an editor of the book. Good evening and welcome to both of you. Thank you for coming to the studios. Mr. Chawla, let's start with you. FairPrice began as NTUC Welcome. That was back in 1973. And the whole point of it was to tackle the high cost of living. That's an idea that is very relevant today, although prices are a lot higher than what they were back in 1973 for sure. How has FairPrice kept to that mission, though?
Well, thanks for having us, and we're really excited to talk about this story. But let's go back to 1973, when NTUC Welcome was started. And it was a time of unprecedented level of inflation and a whole bunch of other things that were happening in the country. And yet, it was clear to us that, and to the founding fathers, that we had to do something to help moderate the cost of living through daily essentials, through grocery that we serve to our customers. And I think what's kept us going for 5 decades as we celebrate our 50th year is that we have stayed true to that social mission, that purpose of helping moderate the cost of living. And it's not just the belief, but it's the actions. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Last year, not long ago, when one of our neighbors abruptly stopped the supply of chicken to us, we had to very rapidly go across many other parts of the world and make sure that chicken was available in our shelves. Now, when you do that at short notice, you don't necessarily pass on the increased prices to your customers, which other retailers in other parts of the world could have done. But because we are guided by our social mission, we don't do that. Or more recently, when there was an issue in the supply of pork in the country, again, we made it available in our shelves at the same price, despite the fact that we had to ensure availability at a short term, or ART kits or masks. So it's not just the belief in the social mission, but also the actions that we take which help guide our purpose over the years.
I'm interested to hear what you say about the social mission in NTUC. Now, this book is called The Price of Being Fair, which essentially dovetails with what you just said. Is that the reason for wanting to produce this book to commemorate this milestone anniversary?
Well, as we thought of our 50th year, we said, let's first and foremost remember that it's an opportunity for us to commemorate. And what does that mean? First and foremost, we can honor the past. We can learn the lessons of the trials, the triumphs, the successes, the failures. So we went down history lane and with the best people we could find, the best editors in the world, and talked to 28 of our previous leaders, our union members, our past chairman, CEO, and many other of the leaders, essentially to understand from them the chronicling of the stories of the past so that we could honor the past and learn from it. The second we wanted to do was to make sure that we appreciate our staff, the staff that has worked so tirelessly, often beyond the call of duty. For example, as you see, even in Chinese New Year, our stores are open till 2 a.m. in the morning because our customers need that. So we wanted to appreciate our staff. And third, of course, we want to thank our customers. So it was for those 3 reasons that we felt it was an appropriate time for us to put up this piece of work which chronicles our history, which in some ways is so intertwined with the society of this country and the growth of the last 50 years.
Suan, let's bring you in on the conversation now. And, NTUC FairPrice, it's a household name, right? I mean, it's so ubiquitous. But you had some very interesting nuggets within the book. Tell us some of the most interesting that we might come across.
First, thanks for having us here tonight. I echo what Vipul said about the importance of having this book. And without it, we won't be able to unearth all these untold wonderful stories. We have a lot, so I'll just choose perhaps 2. One of it is about way back in the past. Now it's so ubiquitous, but in the past, it would be hard to imagine that the malls didn't want to have NTUC FairPrice in them. The landlords kind of rejected NTUC FairPrice because they thought they were too lowbrow. It would not be in sync with the mall's reputation, the identity. So NTUC FairPrice deemed not glamorous enough. So that's an interesting nugget that we unearthed. And then the second nugget is, of course, competition, retail competition. So again, in the 1990s, there was Carrefour, which came in. And I guess for FairPrice, they were really scared of the competition.
Yes.
And at that time, FairPrice wasn't as big as it was now. It is now. But yet they managed to fight off the competition, and Carrefour is no longer in Singapore. So we got the story, and it's very interesting.
All right, Ms. Chia, I noticed you say FairPrice and not NTUC, but most people, and that includes, for example, those of us at home, we have an NTUC right very close to where I stay. My mother would say go to NTUC. She would never say go to FairPrice. Is there a difference? Is there a reason why we choose to use one and not the other?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Before we started this project, I think I called it NTUC. But it's only after I started writing this project that it got into my mind that I think I need to change and call it FairPrice. I have no idea why people call it NTUC. I can only think of two reasons. One, it is their name, NTUC FairPrice, so everyone calls it NTUC. And the second, more important reason is Singaporeans love acronyms. So ERP, MRT,
That's right.
MBS, NTUC. So I think that's why it sticks.
Yeah, it's catchy. Vipul, Sue-Ann was talking about competition and, the sad, sorry tale of what happened with Carrefour, and the competition there was intense, no doubt. We've got the online space now. So how does FairPrice actually tackle competition in both those spheres, both online now and offline?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we respect our competition, and we've said this in the book. I've said personally that competition keeps us on our toes, and we keep competition on their toes, and that's good for our customers. And we believe that's absolutely fair play. As far as the online and the offline space is concerned, it mirrors customer behavior. Increasingly, our customers are becoming omni-channel savvy. So a customer of FairPrice comes to our store, our physical store, 3 times a month and uses the digital store once a month, as an example, for top-up. But that's the same customer with the same association and love for our brand. And therefore, in the way in which we offer our products and our services, we make sure that the same product, whether it's in the finest or an extra, has exactly the same price. So a tray of Pasar 30 eggs is at $7.85, whether it's in an extra, a finest, or a super. Or a rice, the jasmine rice, 5 kgs, is at $8.20, again, across our formats. Or the canola oil is at $9.50. Or the Milo, 900 grams, is at $8.50. So the price remains the same across our formats. And in some ways, that's how we compete, because we make sure that customers don't have to pay a burden for where they shop at our physical or our digital stores. And that, again, anchors us back to our purpose.
Yeah, it brings customer loyalty as well. Thank you both so much for coming in, and happy birthday to NTUC FairPrice.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Vipul Chawla, their CEO of FairPrice, and Sue-Ann Chia, an editor of Price of Being Fair, a book about FairPrice's history.